to the, this is the second time, we have that one, second time that we've done a popcorn sermon. And it'll probably be the last for a little while, because I was using this as one of various strategies to try to break things up. And this has been almost a year. It'll be 10 months since we've had an associate pastor here when Joe Harker comes. And so just in the past couple of months I thought, well, let's just do something different. And this idea of a popcorn sermon I thought was a way to kind of liven things up a little bit, to have a little bit of more of a dialogue in this space. But Bob was right. The lesson, and this is the lesson for this Sunday of the Christian year, and it's one that's familiar to us, particularly as those who call ourselves disciples of Christ, because this is what's called the Great Commission. And the scripture says that now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountains to which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything that I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always to the end of the age. Thanks be to God this day. Amen. So we call ourselves disciples. But you know, I'm going to start today. I got a little feedback after my last. I did this popcorn sermon. I did this style before back in April, and just to try something new. I'm trying to have a little bit more of a free flow of communication. But I got a little bit of feedback, mostly positive. But I had a couple of more of our senior members saying they missed the traditional sermon. I took that as I was grateful for that feedback, but I thought, well, maybe what you're missing is the joke. So I thought I'll start off with the joke, and I'll end with the joke, and then maybe everybody will get what they want. But in any case, there's a story. You know, I like these jokes about the little boy, and the little boy. He came home from church one Sunday with his mother. I think I may have told this one before, and he said to his mom, he says, "Mom, I've decided I want to be a preacher when I grow up." And his mom was pleased, and she said, "Oh, you know, we could support that. Son, why do you want to be a preacher when you grow up?" And the little boy said, "Well, I figure if I got to go to church on Sunday anyway, I might as well stand up and shout and sit down and listen." So, and I thought about that because, of course, as you know, I shared that I was called to the preaching ministry. I felt the call to ministry when I was 10 years old. And it's something, there was a couple times in my life that I tried to avoid. You know, and there's sometimes I have in my mind the thought, well, you know, maybe I could do something different. But it's the kind of thing that catches hold of you. And, you know, you've got to do what God asks you to do. But we're going to try the popcorn sermon again today. And I got a number of submissions. And what we do is in this popcorn style, I pull this out and we just kind of, I'm going to try to keep myself to maybe 1 minute per, so we can have a little bit more lively. We'll see. Norm laughs because he knows me in the Bible study. But in any case, as we're getting started, I want to mention, I spoke to my son. I said, "Ezekiel, I didn't get a submission from you." And he just looked at me and he said, you know, like he wants to hear me, like he doesn't hear me say enough to him anyway. But his mom chimed in and said, "Well, Ezekiel, if you get the opportunity, why don't you ask Canaan, how did you marry such a beautiful Italian?" And this is what she said. And so Ezekiel said, "Yeah, you know, if I could ask a question, that's probably the very question that I would ask." And, you know, I thought I would just start by speaking to that question, that it is true. I thought when Ezekiel raised that question, when Nikki raised the question, I do want to say, to testify, that one of the great blessings of my life is my wife, Nikki. I mean, I am exceptionally blessed by it. I just want to say thank you. You know, Nikki and I was sharing the story earlier, the new associate pastor and his wife that are coming. We met in seminary. We were all students. Can you believe it? We were in our 20s. You know, 20 years. Right. Well, of course, Nikki, you know, she held fast. But in any case, we were all. I mean, it feels like. I heard a lot of my friends were away. It's our 25th anniversary of high school graduation. I'm like, 25 years and another 25 years. But you think Nikki and I have been together now. Well, we met in seminary now 20 years ago. You know, in 1990. 1997, and we were best friends. I remember going home from back home that Christmas and thinking, you know what? The person that I thought most about was Nikki. It was just a few months, and we made a friendship before we made a romantic connection. But that's been the foundation of our ministry, of our common ministry. And I think about it like this. I think about it that we have a common ministry. Even though I'm the pastor and Nikki is a volunteer, you know, I think one of the strengths of our church is that we share a common ministry. And I think it's really neat. I was meeting with Joanne Bell Haynes this week again, and we just have a great, she's from Georgia, we just got a great relationship. And, you know, 2 hours passed in our conversation like it's nothing. And I said, one of the great things about our church is that now we're hiring with Joe, and he's also married to an ordained minister. So you're going to have 2 clergy couples here as the pastors, as it were, of the church. Isn't that kind of neat? I think that's kind of neat, you know? I think so. Let's give God the glory. That was a chance kind of to speak to that. And I know Nikki's excited about Alicia coming, just as I'm excited about Joe. So let's see, what do we have here? I'm going to pull out a popcorn and we'll see what is this. This one comes up. What is your greatest challenge? Wow. I guess somebody wanted to direct something toward me. You know? I guess I would have to say that probably one of my greatest challenge, I may have to say, is anxiety. And I'll just go ahead and lay it out there. You know, that's just what immediately comes to mind. I think all of us struggle with anxiety. And anxiety is another way of saying fear. You know, I think you've observed me. I've been here almost 10 years now, and you've observed me, you know, growing up over these past 10 years. So probably a lot of you, you know, people can see you better than you can see yourself. So probably a lot of you have seen me working through my struggle with anxiety. But, you know, what I've learned about that is a lot of that fear and anxiety. What I've learned is that's natural to all of us. And what I've got to do is I've got to put that aside, and I've got to set my mind on the things of God. And to set my mind on the things of God, I can feel, you know, God will lift me up. And lift me up beyond fear to faith. You know, that's, you know, not always, you know, but at my best. But you know, that's what I struggle with. I struggle with anxiety. Do we all struggle with anxiety? So let's see what else we've got. We've got pull one out of the little pack. What, in your opinion, is the most pressing crisis in the world today? So that's a big one, isn't it? Wow. That digs into a lot of opinions, you know. And I guess I'm going to try to keep this down to a minimum and a short answer. So I'm going to say, I think parenting. You know, I'm going to go, I think parenting. I think that what I observe, and I think we have a real challenge with these things right now on the small screen. You know, my son Nicky said we've got probably one of the only teenagers who still gets up, you know, as early as he possibly could get up. And she got up and he was there at 6:15 watching his little tablet. And she said, who told you you could get up and watch a video at 6:30 in the morning? But you know what? We do it too, don't we? We do it too. You know, we lead by example. I think parenting, and you see the statistics about parents not, you know, that's what a joy of a responsibility. So I would say my short answer to this one is that's a reasonable answer, isn't it? I think we need to step up to the plate with our parenting. Amen. So let's see what else. Do you believe in miracles? Wow, that's another big question. This is kind of fun. I believe in miracles. You know, I saw a miracle I was sharing with my Bible study on Wednesday, a miracle that I saw. A man, you know, I do work with people in recovery and 12 steps, people that are recovering from addiction to drugs and alcohol. And this is a community that I have. And I saw a miracle of a man who's been trying for 9 years to get sober. 9 years. I've known this man for 9 years, one of these very, very hard luck cases. And this past week on Wednesday, for the first time, he celebrated 9 months of not taking the drug. He's been trying for 9 years. I've seen it happen. He could never get more than a few weeks, maybe 30 days. He found the solution. It's a miracle. It's right in front of my face. I see it happen. I see miracles happen where God is stepping in and doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. Do you believe that? Amen. Miracles still happen. Let's see what else we've got here. I didn't set a timer. Okay, I think we're doing all right. We'll put this one to the side. Let's see. Okay. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Wow, I think people are getting personal. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, you know, it's interesting. I mentioned because we had the interview with our new associate pastor, and Peter Medley was there as part of the interview, and he asked the new associate pastor that question. And the new associate pastor answered, he said, right here as the associate pastor, as the youth minister of Central Christian Church. That was the answer that Peter hoped to hear. And I want to say that if it's God's will, where I see myself in 5 years is still here. You know, I've got a son, and in 6 years, he'll graduate from high school, 6 years. So, you know, I feel pretty good about that. If that's God's will, I don't see myself going anywhere, you know, if you'll have me. Let's see what else we've got here. Tell us about our new associate pastor. Well, I told you. You'll get to meet him. You'll get to meet him here in a couple of minutes. Oh, how to stay motivated when life is hard, when you feel alone. And this person says, when the hits come quicker than the blessings. When the hits come quicker than the blessings. You know, it's funny. We had some luxury problems, you may call it this week. Nikki drove our son, I shared with a couple of you, to Hays, Kansas to drop off our son, to pass him off to the grandparents. And in Hays, Kansas, she parked and she turned her key, and all the lights came on in the instrument panel. Turns out the people out there said she had a transmission had gone. So she got her own car and she came back, and I'm so suspicious, I had the car towed back to Denver, and sure enough, that was what was far. And actually, it costs more to replace a transmission in Denver than it does in Kansas. That's a blessing. Right, plus the tow. Yeah. But in any case, so we've been managing. Yesterday we managed with, and we had all this hail damage. You know, we're still kind of sorting our. So it feels like a lot. Nikki was talking about she has a little skin rash that will flare up when she's under stress. So she says, you know, it feels like a lot. But you know what? So I think that kind of answers the question. You know, how to stay motivated. These are little hits. You know, little things, little niggling, little hits. You know, that get to you. It's like it says. The scripture says, it's the little foxes that eat the fruits off the vine. That's the danger. So it feels like these little foxes. You know, and so what's the answer? The answer is to start your day with gratitude. The answer is to remember, even what did I say? You know, I'll even share with you. I'll tell on myself. I'm going to tell on myself. Because Nikki called. Okay, can you imagine being out there in Kansas, you know, and breaking down, and you're on your own, and she's scared, and she's broken down by herself in Kansas. What am I going to do? And so she called, and she said, you know, I hate to tell you this, but this is what's going on. And what is oftentimes the husband do when he's feeling worried? You know, he goes immediately to, you know, my tendency is I want to go immediately to find the fault. And I was able to sit on my hands and realize that this was a scary situation for her. And I was able to pray it up and try to speak kindly, you know, get her back home. Well, here's the story. She called my son that night. He was with his grandparents. And he said, Mom, I can't even go to sleep till I hear that you're okay. And he said, I'm going to tell him myself. He said, did Dad yell at you? He said, did Dad yell at you? You know, because he knew that this would have been a frustration for me. And Nikki was able to tell him, honest to God. She said, no, Dad didn't yell at me. He didn't yell at me. Right? I call that a victory. For me, that's a victory. For me, that's a miracle. Miracles do still happen, right? But what was it? I tried to find compassion, you know, in the moment, right? Tried not to let my fear, recognizing my fear for what it was, you know, and how do I stay positive, you know, even when these things happen. It's a battle, isn't it? It's a battle every day. Let's see if there's another one. When I do good things for other people and don't feel good or happy about it, what happened? Did I not do something right? Is God still pleased with me anyway? Wow, isn't that something else, you know? I think, you know, would I respond to that one? I hadn't seen that one. And I don't feel like, you know, I guess my immediate response is, what I'm learning is that my feelings are fickle, right? Does that make sense? What I'm learning is that my feelings, that I can't use my feelings as the guidepost for my life, right? And I've shared this before, you know, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, right? You know, I mean, if you're hungry, if you're angry, if you're lonely, if you're tired, bored, that affects your feelings. I can have a feeling and it's not necessarily about what's going on right here. So I like that saying, do the right thing. If you just keep doing the right thing, and then your feelings can be fickle, but as long as you're doing the right thing, I like that saying, sweep your side of the street. You heard that saying? So long as I'm sweeping my side of the street, right? So long as I'm handling the business and I'm doing what's right. God tells us, puts in our heart what's right. So as long as I'm doing what's right, my feelings can be fickle. And, sometimes I can do a good thing. And what does Jesus say? Jesus says, wipe the dust off. And here's another one, it's not about pleasing people. I love it, to think that you only got to please one. If you please God, then you don't have to worry about what this one says over here on this side, or what this one says over here. How much time? So church is over. Okay. Wow, that's a heavy one. I don't have time. I'm going to do one more. What to do when God feels distant, when you feel forgotten. Okay? And, I heard somebody say the other day, because we often will feel distant, we'll feel like we're separated from God. I heard somebody say the other day, keep a list of the things that will get you back to God. Right? To keep a list of those things. Okay, prayer, meditation, Bible study, singing a song, and going to church, nature, art, music, sports, dribbling a soccer ball, whatever it is, keep a list of those things, because sometimes you're going to get down in the fun, and just prayer's not going to work, and just meditation's not going to work, and just nature's not going to work. I thought that was really neat to say, all these things are going to get me back to God, because I think in the crux of that is that it's all up here, isn't it? Right? If I feel like I'm apart from God, have you heard that? If you feel like God is distant, who moved? Who moved? Right? So how do I get back to God? There's certain things I can do to get my head back in that space of God. So I guess as we're closing out, the question was about, the story is about, and just to make it thematic, and so I can close with a joke or whatever. It's the question was about discipleship. Go ye therefore and make disciples. Right? And we're called disciples of Christ. Right? That's what our movement is called. We had a speaker. I was at a national conference not too long ago, and the speaker was a lady theologian named Diana Butler Bass. And she opened the conference. I've told this before, but she said, she said it herself. She said, I'm a Presbyterian. But you know what? I don't know why anyone would want to call themselves a Presbyterian when they could call themselves a disciple. Right? Isn't that neat? Because disciple means exactly what it is we're called to do. The word disciple means to teach. So we are to pass this on. If we can find our strength beyond ourselves and we can learn how to do that, the life of faith, then our job, whether we're the priesthood of all believers, our job to go ye therefore and to pass this on. If we have found a way where we can carry the weight and it's not bowing us down, how do we teach others? This world, people are struggling in this world. And so let's see if I can think of one more thing. And I'll close with this. It's the pastor. There's a new pastor in the church, and he preaches a sermon week after week. But every week he stands at the door like I do, and he shakes a hand. And every week there's this same man, and he comes through. And this one, the man looked at him with a sour face, and he said, "That one, I didn't get anything out of that this time." And then he doesn't know what to do. And then next week the man comes through and he says, I don't think you really prepared very much for that one. He said, and then the next week he comes through and he says, Pastor, that was about the worst sermon. The pastor, by that point, the pastor was getting frustrated, so he turned to one of his elders and he said, what is going on with this guy? And the man says, don't worry about it. Old Joe, he's kind of slow. He just goes around repeating what he hears everybody else say. So I say that just because, again, it's not about pleasing people, it's about pleasing God. I do appreciate your patience with me and allowing me to do something different, just kind of for fun. And so just know that you are invited. You're welcome. Let's